Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's me, Mysterious Cameraman, and today I'm talking about DC Legends of Tomorrow Season 4 and if it is still good. So I know I made the Season 3 video, I think like 3 days ago. By the time I made that Season 3 video, I was already done with Season 4. I was very behind on making these videos. I made the Season 2 video. I don't think I was done with Season 3 at that point, but I was almost done with it. And I've been very behind on these. Now that I'm making this video today, I'm actually all cut up. I haven't even started Season 5 yet. So I'm happy about that. That makes my life easier. But yeah, said some stuff about Season 3. I don't remember if I ranked them, but if I didn't, Episode 11 is in first place. And yeah, I'm quickly loading up the episode list on my computer. But before we get into it, if you haven't already checked out the first 3 installments of this series, I suggest you do. They're pretty fun. I really like reviewing these shows again. And yeah, they don't always do the best, but whatever. Let's move on to Season 4. Okay. I want to begin with saying, Season 4 is the worst seasons of Legends so far. And I think the thing with Legends is it doesn't even feel like a show that necessarily has seasons. And I say that for a very weird reason, but I say that simply because if you watch the show, you'll realize that there isn't necessarily a seasonal structure to Legends. As the entire show, each season is basically traveling to different locations. And they've done the same things almost every season. In the first 3 seasons, they did the Wild West, the same Wild West. In seasons 2 through 4, they did film sets. They did, I think they've done World War I a few times. Or they've done the Roaring Twenties many times. What else have they done? They've done a lot of stuff a lot of times. So at this point, it doesn't always feel like seasonal. But I will say that this season thing was magical creatures, and I did not enjoy that at all. I felt that the magical creature idea was just like not interesting, because Neuron, who was the main villain, didn't feel like a great main villain first off. So that messed up the whole season. I just didn't feel like magical creatures are interesting enough to carry the whole season as the villains. Overall, I do like how they fit in the overall plot. I'll talk about that in episode 16. But Neuron really doesn't appear as such a main villain. Even Mollis, I feel like, works as like a 1-episode huge deal. However, Neuron, I feel like, doesn't feel like a villain. And the magical creatures, in my opinion, are worse than anachronisms and aberrations because they don't feel interesting enough. Like, I don't really care if there's like... So, like, they don't work as well as the other ones. Beginning with Season 4, Episode 1, The Virgin Gary. I didn't care for this episode. I will say I do like a lot of the characters in this season and their arcs a lot more than every other season. But I'm not going to talk about that yet. I will say I didn't love this episode. I felt like this episode was way too weird. I didn't care for this episode so much, so yeah. Season 4, Episode 2, Witch Hunt. I did like this one more than the first one, but not so much. I will say that this had a pretty weak start to the season, and I didn't care so much for this. It was just not great, and I didn't love it. Season 4, Episode 3, Dancing Queen. I did like this episode more. I will say I did enjoy this episode a little more. I like the idea of them bringing back Zari. I feel like if they want the actress to keep coming back, then they should just keep Zari on the show. Like, them inventing a new character like this, it feels like the Wells of DC Legends almost, and I don't feel like it works the same way DC Legends doesn't. But I do like this episode. I feel like this episode's fun. And yeah, Season 4, Episode 4, Wet Hot American Bummer. I did enjoy this episode a decent amount. I thought this episode was probably the best episode thus far in the season. Not the whole time, but I did enjoy this episode a lot. This episode was fun. I really enjoyed this one. I feel like this one we really got to see Constantine and everyone really work together. And overall, I just thought this episode was just really interesting. Like, I felt like this is where the season really started. Season 4, Episode 5, Takumo Attacks. I did like this episode a lot. This is probably another one of those episodes that I really enjoyed. This episode was just really good in my opinion. I really liked the idea of Tagumo being like the main villain. And this episode was just fun. I really enjoyed this one. Season 4, Episode 6, Tender is the Nate. I also did like this episode. I didn't love this one so much. This one wasn't great. I'll say I didn't love this episode, but I liked it. Thought it was fine. It wasn't great or anything, but it works. Season 4, Episode 7, Hell No Dolly. I didn't like this one so much. This one was too weird. This was one of those episodes I think was way too Season 4, Episode 8, Legends of Tamao Meow. I did enjoy this episode a lot. This episode was good that Constantine broke the cardinal rule. I thought this episode was actually really good because it didn't feel like they really only done this twice. They did this once in season 2 and then this again. And I really enjoyed it here. Here I felt like it worked very well. And I really liked all the Earths that we saw, especially the Meow Meow Legends or whatever they're called, the custodians of the chronology. I thought that was really good. And overall, I really liked how they did iterations of the legends. I thought that was just really fun. Season 4, Episode 9, Luca de Apustas, whatever. Didn't like this episode at all. This episode was boring. I didn't care for this episode at all. And it felt useless in every way. Season 4, Episode 10, The Getaway. I also didn't love this episode so much. Yeah, I don't remember much from this episode. I don't remember liking it much. So, yeah, if I don't remember liking it much, I probably didn't like it much. Season 4, Episode 11, Seance and Sensibility. I believe this was the episode, the musical episode, and if it was, I didn't actually hate this episode so much. This episode was, stupid, but I sometimes like it when this episode is extremely stupid. I actually did like this episode a decent amount. It was stupid as hell, but I still liked it, and I actually had some fun with this one. Season 4, Episode 12, The Eggplant, The Witch, and the Wardrobe. I'll say this one was I don't remember much from this. Oh, yes. I actually didn't mind this episode. This episode I thought was interesting with Ava coming back. I actually didn't hate this episode in any way. Season 4, Episode 13, Egg MacGuffin. I did like this episode. I actually really enjoyed. I'll get to the character plots now. I will say I thought a lot of the character plots in this were very good. I think Nate was a very good lead character this season. And I also really liked Zari, and I really liked their relationship. I didn't like Nate before. I really started liking him on this rewatch of this show. And I've always liked Zari. I feel like she was even better on this rewatch. And I really liked how they started getting together. I feel like it felt natural the way that their relationship was working. And I actually really enjoyed seeing them on screen together. So I really enjoyed this episode. Season 4, Episode 14, Nip/Stuck. Did not like this episode so much. This episode was way too weird. I will say, I did like parts of it. This was the episode, I believe, could be wrong. Think this was the episode where they start dating. I think so, where Zari and Nate start dating. I believe this is actually the episode where it begins. And if it is, I actually do really enjoy that. I thought, they did a slow burn on it. But, it was way too slow of a burn. But I did like this episode a lot. Season 4, Episode 15, Terms of Service. I actually really enjoyed this episode. This was where the season really started getting good for me. I really liked the idea of Ray being, the main villain. I thought that was genius. And even though I didn't like Neuron, I thought Ray being a villain was very good. And his idea to, sell souls or whatever, it was so stupid. But, I actually didn't hate it. Yeah. And for Episode 16, Hey World, this episode's good. I'm sorry, but like this episode is fun. I hate the first half of the episode. It's boring. But like once you get to the actual Hayworld, I love how this episode actually ties in the rest of the season. It has the book from Tagmo. It has like all the magical creatures. Like I really actually liked Hayworld a lot, and I feel like I actually loved this episode so much. This episode was very fun. I really enjoyed this one. This one was interesting. This one was just very good. I really liked this episode, especially when you get towards the back half of it. It was fun. Like I really liked this episode. And yeah, but I also did like Gary's plot throughout the season. I felt like that was another thing I really enjoyed. That felt natural. That felt interesting, and I'm very excited to see what the show does next. I do remember really enjoying season 5. I do not remember anything about season 5, but I think I do remember enjoying it. And yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to be said. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.